Peace to you. I'm glad you joined us today. And again, whether you're watching us on our YouTube channel or listening to our podcast, I hope you find this a time of blessing, of insight. I'm Matt Henderson, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Clarkesville, Georgia. This is our special midweek connection. It's an extra opportunity to take our theme a little deeper, more than our Sundays might allow. Today we're continuing with our series, Wisdom is Calling, Uncommon Sense for the Church Today. We've been exploring 3 collections of biblical wisdom, the book of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job. Today we're looking at the conclusion of the teacher's reflections in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, for its 12 chapters, sings the same song, the same verse, same note even, that there's nothing new, nothing worthy, nothing of value that makes it all make sense. It's absurd. It's the vanity of vanities. The teacher has been attentive student to wisdom, has explored every proverb, every poem, has been a pupil of the world, observed both the order and the chaos therein. He's seen countless sunsets and sunrises. He's seen neighbor helping neighbor, brother helping neighbor, neighbor abusing neighbor, brother abusing brother. Day after day, season after season, year after year. And where has all this study and learning brought him? It brings him to the same grave as the fool. It's all meaningless. Too many of his fellow teachers have been offering their sagely advice, instructing the generations that life is easy. The world is predictable. Listen to us. We won't lead you astray. You too can live your best life now. It's simple. You're making it too hard. Trust us. Just apply yourself to the teachings. The system works if you work the system. The teacher has seen things that say otherwise, that it's not simple. Life's not easy. The wisdom of Ecclesiastes is a critique against a dumbed-down, simplistic perspective on life, on the world, on God. And it's not only prevalent in the ancient world, but also today. Its teachings allow for God and God's creation to be mysterious, awe-inspiring, and unfathomable. And it stands against the snake oil charlatans of any day that offer a world and a God that you can put in a box and manage and expect to control. Hear these words of frustration from Ecclesiastes chapter 8. I'm beginning with verse 10. The teacher says, "Then I saw the wicked buried. They used to go in and out of the holy place. They were praised in the city where they had done such things. This is also vanity. Because sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily. The human heart is fully set to do evil. Though sinners do evil 100 times and prolong their lives, yet I know that it will be well with those who fear God, because they stand in fear before Him. But it will not be well with the wicked, neither will they prolong their days like a shadow, because they do not stand in fear before God." There is a vanity that takes place on earth, that there are righteous people who are treated accordingly to the conduct of the wicked. and there are wicked people who are treated according to the conduct of the righteous. I said this also is vanity. So I commend enjoyment, for there is nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves. For this will go with them in their toil through the days of their life that God gives them under the sun. When I applied my mind to know wisdom and see the business that is done on earth, how one's eyes see sleep neither day nor night, then I saw all the work of God, that no one can find out what is happening under the sun. However much they will toil in seeking, they will not find it out, even though those who are wise claim to know. They cannot find it out. Again, for the teacher, God on one hand is mysterious, awe-inspiring, sovereign over all, but is also hidden, impersonal, distant. In fact, the teacher avoids using God's personal name. Yahweh is never used, unlike the other wisdom collections. Here, only the generic, impersonal Elohim, which simply means God, never the Lord. The teacher holds God in such a profound respect, but will never claim to know too much about God, or especially know the Lord. To the teacher, God is the giver of gifts, the giver of life. God sets up the world for man to work, to toil, and as much as man is able to find joy. But God is not the source of joy. I wonder, is there a difference between what the Proverbs encourages, that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and here what the teacher advises, it will be well with those who fear God? Again, this is not about being afraid or trembling in terror, but about reverence, about humility, about awe. Hold that thought for just a few moments. Ecclesiastes in the last chapter provides as much as a conclusion as we're going to get, although you might not find it very satisfying. Chapter 12, the first verse. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years draw near, when you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened and the clouds return with the rain. In the day when the guards of the house tremble and the strong men turn bent and the women who grind cease working because they are few. And those who look through the windows see dimly. When the doors on the street are shut and the sound of the grinding is low, and one rises up at the sound of a bird and all the daughters of song are brought low. When one is afraid of heights and terrors in the road and almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper drags itself along and desire fails, because all must go to their eternal home and the mourners will go about the streets. Before the silver cord is snapped and the golden bowl is broken, the pitcher is broken at the fountain and the wheel broken at the cistern, and the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the breath returns to God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, says the teacher, all is vanity. Verse 13. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of everyone. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. The final words of the matter After 12 chapters of feeling frustrated with the absurdity of life, the conclusion is fear God. Keep God's commandments. Trust God's judgment. For a work of wisdom, it really seems to come across as anti-wisdom. Don't work too hard. It won't get you anywhere different. Don't think too hard. Study too hard. You really won't be able to figure things out. I've tried, the teacher exclaims, and it's driven me mad. You might as well keep it simple. Fear God. Keep God's commandments. Trust God's judgment. For 12 chapters, the teacher sings his song like a dirge up to the very end. And with the last 2 verses produces this as the conclusion. I still wonder, is there any difference between what the Proverbs encourages, that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and here what the teacher advises? Fear God. Again, this is not about being afraid or trembling, but about reverence, awe. The Lord of Proverbs, and for the rest of Scripture for that matter, is a personal God, we learn. An involved God. Awesome? Certainly. Mysterious? Yes. But also a revealing the nature of compassion, of mercy, an invitation to a relationship. Without knowing the Lord, Yahweh, as a personal God of care and grace, can we truly have reverence, truly be devoted, truly worship? Doesn't that look quite different to fear the Lord, Yahweh, than to fear a distant, generic God who created life and issues judgment? As we ended the service last Sunday, I was greeted at the door with this request. I sure hope you can make Job a little more simple for us. And that's the trouble when we come to texts like this. We're uncomfortable with the complexity they require of us. Is Ecclesiastes a puzzle? A puzzle that you can't simply turn over for the answer when you run out of guesses. Does the conclusion Ecclesiastes offers speak at face value? Perhaps there's a measure of hyperbole, of irony, of satire even throughout the text. Both text and subtext. Perhaps it's an invitation to an experience, to be permitted to feel, to wonder, to explore. Maybe Ecclesiastes and other wisdoms illuminates that life and wisdom is not about the maxims, not about easy answer, but about an invitation to a journey. Perhaps even there's more than one answer, more than one conclusion. And it depends on what angle you look at, from what perspective you come from. And perhaps that's frustrating. Perhaps that's freeing. Isn't it funny how it can be the same thing to different people, or even different to the same person at different times? On Sunday, we begin with Job, looking at the first 2 chapters, and I invite you to take a few moments before Sunday, read ahead. And until then, thank you for joining me in exploring the complexities of wisdom. And I hope you'll join me in worship on Sunday, either in person or online or even streamed later. And that by joining us, you'll find yourself a little less comfortable where you've been, and a desire to go deeper into the complexities of wisdom, the Bible, and especially with God. But until then, the peace of Christ be with you.